We have to elect candidates that don't mind being in the trenches with the people, not sending text messages. Y'all got that text message? Okay. I'm gonna tell you a quick story about being in the trenches. On this campaign trail, I met one constituent, 90 years old. And I remember my first interaction with her. I said, Miss Cora. She said, yes. I said, oh my God, you're 90 years old. She said, I don't know you. I said, yes, ma'am, you don't. So I said, well, I'm gonna come out to your home and introduce myself to you. And she said, okay, come on out. I went out to meet Miss Cora maybe a month or so ago and explained to her the voting process, explained to her how she could vote absentee. Fast forward to the storm. So Hurricane Helene comes in. I, like most of you all, lost power. We had some property damage. But my focus remained on my family and my community in that time frame. I saw on Facebook that the city was looking for help to pass out MREs and water. So I immediately jumped on the bandwagon. I just showed up like I was a part of the city and started serving, right? I left Promised Land and I was thinking, wait a second, I gotta go back and check on Miss Cora. So I loaded up my car up with supplies to take back and go check on Miss Cora and her sister-in-law. When I got to Miss Cora's house, she was sitting outside under a tree, just as calm as she could be. I pulled up in the driveway and I got out the car with my same old, Miss Cora. She said, yes. I said, you remember me? But this time I pointed to the sign that I had in her yard. She said, I sure do. So I went up to Miss Cora and I said, I know it's been rough, but I know you can't get out. So I brought the supplies to you. Miss Cora said, well, I sure do appreciate it, baby. And I said, and don't worry, I got your sister-in-law's supplies in the car too, right? So I go to put the supplies in her house and I open the door and I automatically think, Miss Cora, you lost power. And she said, yeah, it came on yesterday. And I said, did you clean out your freezer? She said, yes. And I said, well, I'm gonna back my car up to your door and all of that spoiled food that you have, you're not gonna wait on anybody else to take it off. It's going in the trunk of my car. She says to me as I'm loading up the car, she says, how much do I owe you? I don't know if y'all know this or not, but I'm weak when it comes down to that kind of stuff. And I turned to her and I said, you paid for these services a long time ago. It is our responsibility to not forget those that cannot gain access to resources. And that is why we have to fight. That is why we have to fight.